Hello Internet, so nice to see you! Today we talk about the super basics of music theory for people who are starting from absolute zero and they have no idea where to begin from. So be warned, if you know something about music theory already, this may not be the video for you, but at the same time, you may have a friend or two who are just getting started with music theory or with music in general. In this case, please do send them this video, I'm sure they will appreciate it. Also, many of the things I'm saying in this video are explained in more detail in the free ebook Beginning Music Theory that you can get by clicking on the link on the top right of the screen. So here are the super basics of music theory. Super basic number 1. There are 7 notes, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. But the distance between those notes is not the same. Specifically, the distance between B and C and the distance between E and F, it's 1 fret on your guitar, while the distance between all the other notes is 2 frets on your guitar. Which means that, for instance, between A and B there is another note, and this note can be called either A sharp, meaning 1 higher than A, or B flat, meaning 1 lower than B. The same happens for all the other notes, so for instance the note between C and D is called C sharp or D flat. So now we have a total of 12 notes, and the distance between any of those two notes is called a half step or a semitone, and it corresponds to 1 fret on your guitar. Super basic number 2, there are things that we call chords. A chord is simply a group of 3 or more notes that is usually played at the same time and that sound nice together. Now, of course, to define exactly what I mean when I say that they sound nice together, we require a much longer explanation than the one I'm giving in this video. So let's just focus on the practical bits for now. Let's say that the most common kind of chords are chords of 3 notes called triads. And the most common triads that you hear in everyday music are major triads and minor triads. Now let's see how to find the notes in a triad. Let's say I want to find the notes in the A major triad. How do I do it? Since it's the A major triad, I start from the note A, and this is one of the 3 notes. To find the next note, I move 4 half step higher, and I find C sharp, and from here I move other 3 half step higher, and I find E. The notes in the A major triad are A, C sharp, E. If I were to find the notes, for instance, in the C major triad, I will do the same starting from C. So my first note is C, then I move 4 half step higher and I find E, then I move 3 half step higher and I find G. The notes in the C major triad are C, E, G. What about the minor triad? The procedure is similar, but this time you move up 3 and then up 4. Meaning, if I want to find the notes in the A minor triad, I'm starting from A and that's my first note. I move up only 3 half step and I find C. Then from there I move up other 4 half step and I find E. The note in the A minor triad are A, C, E. Let's say I want to find the note in the F minor triad. I start from the F note and that's my first note. I move up 3 half step and I get to this A flat. And then from there I move up other 4 half step and I get to this C. The note in the F minor triad are F, A flat, C. When you play a major triad, which means you play those 3 notes at the same time, the result is a chord that tends to sound happy and stable. When instead you play a minor triad, that is, you play the 3 notes of the minor triad at the same time, the result is a sound that has been defined as sad, or at least as not happy. If you play a few chords one after another on your guitar or in any other instrument, you get a chord progression. And most of the music you hear every day is simply made by chord progression. A chord progression will sound like this. For instance, this is C, A minor, D minor, G. Incidentally, if you want to know more about chords and chord progressions on guitar, I suggest you check out my course, Complete Chord Mastery. Click on the link on the top right. Also, before we go ahead, arpeggios are simply chords in which you play the notes not all together but one after the other. For instance, that's a C minor chord, and that's a C minor arpeggio. The notes are the same, it's just how I play them. Super basic number 3, there are some things we call scales. Most scales are simply sets of 7 notes, though some scales have 5, 6 or 8 notes. Unlike the notes in a chord, the notes in the scale are usually not meant to be played at the same time. Instead, they are meant as collections of notes that tend to work well with each other, and from where you choose notes to create your melodies. There is no rule in music theory that says that you absolutely have to limit yourself to one scale or even to the notes of a scale when you write a melody, but most of the time, most melodies you hear do stay in the same scale, which means they use only notes in a specific scale. The most common scales you are going to encounter are the major scale and the natural minor scale. As we have seen before, the distance between two notes close by in our previous collection, it's a half step. Twice that, it's a whole step. The major scale, it's a collection of notes taken at those distances. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. What does it mean? If I start from A and I want the A major scale, I take my A note, being the first note, then I move up a whole step to the B note, then I move up another whole step to the C sharp note, then a half step to the D note, then a whole step to E, a whole step to F sharp, a whole step to G sharp, and finally a half step coming back to E. So the notes in the A major scale are A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A. The A major scale sounds this way. If I want to do this with another scale, say the F major scale, I do exactly the same. So starting from F, up a whole step, G, up a whole step, A, up a half step, B flat, up a whole step C, up a whole step D, up a whole step E, up a half step F. The notes are F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F. The F major scale sounds this way. The natural minor scale works exactly the same way as the major scale, the only difference is the formula of the intervals. For the natural minor scale, the formula is whole, half, whole, whole, half, whole, whole. So if I want the A minor scale, I start from A, I move up a whole step for B, then a half for C, a whole for D, whole for E, half for F, whole for G, and another whole coming back to A. So the notes of the A minor scale are A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I can do the same starting from any other note. And incidentally, if you're interested in scales and modes, I suggest you check out my other course called Master of the Modes, which is a complete course on scales and modes on guitar. Super basic number 4. Chord and scales are meant to work together. Specifically, we say that a chord is in a scale if all the notes of the chord are inside that scale. So for instance, the C major chord C, E, G, it's inside the C major scale, which is C, D, E, F, G, A, B. On the other hand, the C major chord, it's also in the F major scale, F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E. A chord can be in more than one scale. Not only that, but the F major scale contains more than the C chord. Specifically, the F major scale contains the F major chord, the G minor chord, the A minor chord, the B flat major chord, the C major chord, and the D minor chord. There will be another triad in the F major scale called the E diminished triad, but we are not going to cover this in this video. Now, chords that are all in the same scale tend to work well together, meaning that if you play them one after the other, they will always sound good. There will never be a problem. There will never be something that sounds bad or out of place. Again, there is no rule in music theory that says that you have to limit yourself to the chords in a specific scale, but this is a good starting point, and many songs you hear do limit themselves to a single scale. Here in the key of F, I can take those chords and play them in any order. For instance, I can play F major, B flat major, C major, and F. Or I could play F major, D minor, G minor, C. You can do the exact same thing with any major scale or with any natural minor scale. The only thing you need to do right now is to write down those scales and find out what chords are inside. But luckily for you, I already did all the work for you, and you will find every note and every chord in any major or minor scale in the free ebook Beginning Music Theory that you can download by clicking on the top right link. Did I mention that this ebook is completely free? Now, of course, Those are just the super basics of music theory. They are meant to get you started and to give you an idea of how music theory works. But there is much more to be learned and much more fun to be had by knowing how those scales and those chords and those notes work together to make the music you like. Again, you can start by reading the free ebook, or you can just have a look at the many other videos I have in this channel. If you like this video, smash on that like button and don't forget to subscribe and click on notifications so YouTube will let you know whenever I put up a new video. If you know anybody who can learn something from this video, please send this video to them. I'm sure they will appreciate, and I will appreciate your support too. And if you have any questions, just write them down in the comments. I will always read my comment and I make video on your requests. This is Tommaso Zilio of musictheoryforguitar.com. And until next time, enjoy!